I love this business. I really hope I've done it proud. I strive to represent the fun and the excitement and the history and the beauty of it all and the hard work and the living that is to be had from it.
Imagine building a multi-million-dollar empire from forgotten junk, only to sell it all for reasons that go beyond money. Drew Pritchard, once the undisputed king of British salvage, shocked the world by auctioning off.
And the next series of Salvage Hunters, which we shot last year, airs in the autumn, is my last.
Over 600 treasured items, a move that left fans stunned and heartbroken. What could drive a man so deeply connected to history and restoration to let go of his life's work in such a final way? Behind the antiques and the television fame lies a story of relentless passion, shadowed by personal heartbreak, scandal, and loss. This is not just the tale of a businessman. It's a raw journey through dreams shattered and a legacy redefined, one piece of salvage at a time. The auction that shocked fans. In 2024, Drew Pritchard stunned both fans and collectors by auctioning off over 600 items from his personal collection, a move no one saw coming. Among the pieces were rare artifacts such as a fairground boat from the 1930s and vintage signs, even fragments salvaged from Buckingham Palace. The auction raised around $800,000, an impressive figure that hinted at the value of the treasures he had collected over decades. Yet, the sale wasn't motivated by financial gain. It was an emotional surrender, an ending to a chapter filled with passion and heartbreak. Drew himself described letting go of these items as saying goodbye to old friends. Each piece was a link to his past, a memory woven into his identity and career. For many, the auction felt like more than just a sale. It was the public closing of a door on the life Drew had built. Fans and collectors alike expressed disbelief that someone so deeply connected to the craft of salvage and restoration would part with their legacy in such a sweeping way. It revealed a vulnerability beneath the confident exterior of the salvage king. This dramatic decision did not happen in isolation. It was the culmination of several personal and professional upheavals: divorce, scandal, and even a ban from local pubs where he once found community. All these elements converged, pushing Drew toward a quiet yet painful farewell to the world he once ruled. While outsiders might have seen only a business transaction, those close to him recognized the silent weight behind this move. It was surrendering more than objects. It was relinquishing a part of himself. The auction raised difficult questions. Why would a man who had dedicated his life to rescuing history, reviving forgotten treasures, and sharing them with the world choose to dismantle his collection? Was it exhaustion from years on television, the strain of public scrutiny, or the fallout from personal mistakes? The answers would reveal the human side of a story too often covered only in success and spectacle. This auction was just the beginning of uncovering that deeper truth. It's impossible to underestimate how much Drew's collection meant to him. Each item carried stories of dangerous expeditions, narrow escapes, and triumphs that fueled a career spanning decades. The very act of selling felt like a loss of identity, echoing through the salvage world and the hearts of those who followed his journey. But behind that pain lay the necessity of moving on, a crossroads no collector or entrepreneur ever wishes to face so publicly. The event also symbolized a larger narrative of change. The man who once centralized his life around gathering and restoring antiques was shifting towards something quieter, perhaps more private. His departure from the public eye and the auction symbolized a profound transformation, not just in business, but in his personal life and priorities. It raised gentle but haunting questions about what remains when passion is no longer enough. As the auction realized hundreds of thousands of dollars, it paradoxically underscored a loss greater than any monetary value. The king of salvage was stepping back, and with that came uncertainty over what lay ahead. Fans were left not only admiring the items, but mourning the chapter they came from. This was not just about antiques changing hands. It was about a man reckoning with the cost of his own story.
And that's that. But there's a lot of downsides,
because people do think when they see you in the street that you're on TV.
The mystery behind Drew's decision drew many to speculate, but the truth, wrapped in layers of personal turmoil, held far more complexity than anyone expected. It was a raw admission that sometimes passion alone cannot sustain a legacy when life's pressures mount too high. The story was far from over, but that auction was undeniably the start of an ending no one could ignore. Looking beyond the auction, one must understand the roots that fed Drew's dedication and the struggles that shaped the man who would become a national figure in salvage. A town among medieval castles. Growing up in North Wales during hard times sowed the seeds of Drew Pritchard's extraordinary journey. In a small town overshadowed by medieval castles, he was raised in a modest household where every penny counted. His parents ran a tiny corner shop, struggling to survive during a decade marked by economic hardship and shrinking job opportunities. This environment was one where making do was not just a choice, but a necessity. From an early age, Drew's perspective on junk differed from that of other children. While his peers played games, he scavenged flea markets and dumps, fascinated by discarded objects others ignored. By the age of 8, he was collecting over 500 bottle caps, clever enough to use them as currency at school. Neighbors might have seen eccentricity, but Drew was absorbing a passion fueled by stories from his grandfather, a World War II veteran who shared tales of hidden treasures and war relics. Those stories ignited an unquenchable fire within him. Soon, young Drew was sneaking into scrap yards and abandoned buildings, seeking fragments of history with a sense of adventure few could match. He narrowly escaped death when a mound of junk nearly buried him alive, a testament to the dangerous path he willingly chose. By 12, he owned a collection of war artifacts and old coins worth over $200, selling extras to scrape together pocket money. Life at home was no less difficult. The combined income of the family stayed under $5,000 a year, and luxuries were not common at all, while harsh winters made it even harder. Drew's father was a signwriter who could apply gold leaf to the pub's signs and became an inspiration and a cautionary tale at the same time. The use of lead-based paints took a toll on the father's health and left him shaking. Overcoming this silently was Drew's watch, and it was his first contact with how terrific and risky restoration work could be at the same time. Drew's own battles with risk started pretty early. When he was only 10 years old, he would take the tools from his dad's set to fix the broken toys. During one of the incidents, he got electrocuted and required stitches. In the backyard, he collected broken bicycles, which soon were so piled up that the neighbors were complaining about rats. But he couldn't stop, his spirit being a mixture of curiosity and determination, even when school was a battle. His teachers misread him, ignorant of the fact that he was dyslexic, and that his chronic absences were simply a way of his being unafraid of seeking the forgotten places. Drew's poor academic performance didn't diminish his remarkable artistic talent, for he managed to draw the crumbling Victorian buildings in great detail that won him a regional prize. He got injured every now and then during his daring exploits, such as a broken arm from falling through a decayed floor. But at the same time, he explored more than 40 deserted places by the time he was 15. Still, these early adventures gave him the boldness and attention to detail that were to characterize his future career. At the age of 15, Drew took a job in a car restoration workshop, where he learned not only how to fix classic cars, but also how to deal with dishonest people, which was, in fact, the reason that he decided to leave the job while his integrity remained intact. In 1986, the turning point came when he unearthed a Victorian gas lamp that was buried under tons of trash. He sold it for $50, and he reinvested in his tools and became serious about collecting From these roots, Drew built not just a collection, but a lifelong mission that soon captured wider attention beyond local markets. Working a double life. With a foundation built on early resilience, Drew's rise to prominence in salvage was fueled by ambition and an uncanny ability to spot value where others saw only junk. By the early 1990s, he was working a double life, apprenticing in stained glass restoration while trading antiques at local markets. His first solo purchase in 1988 was a set of broken Georgian chairs bought for $100, restored over weeks, and sold for $300. This early success proved his instincts were sound, and that persistence could turn small wins into bigger opportunities. In 1993, with just a $2,000 bank loan, Drew opened his first antiques shop in Conway. The business grew despite detractors who questioned his expertise. His shop became a hub for builders and designers seeking authentic architectural pieces, fueling a revival in regional appreciation for salvaged history. Drew's work helped not only preserve objects, but also attracted visitors to the town, blending commerce with cultural conservation. Expanding beyond Wales, Drew began working with demolition crews across the UK by 1995. Buying valuable materials before destruction erased them forever. His knack for quick deals and spotting rarity turned risks into profit. He recalled instances where a live World War II bomb delayed operations but did not deter him. He accumulated vast amounts of slate, iron, and wood annually, becoming well known among London's design circles. Success attracted challenges. A burglary in 1997 cost him thousands in lost stock and nearly bankrupted him, prompting investments in security improvements. The turn of the millennium saw Drew's business flourish. His interests expanded to industrial salvage, where he uprooted lamps, machine parts, and engines from factories and shipyards. Profits soared, celebrity clients lined up, and notoriety grew. However, the path wasn't always smooth. Fines for permit violations and battles with counterfeit antiques punctuated his journey. Nevertheless, by the end of the decade, he was regarded as a pioneer, his net worth surpassing $1 million. Television changed everything. In 2011, Salvage Hunters premiered to 500,000 viewers, catapulting Drew to national fame. His charismatic bargaining and eye for hidden value captivated audiences. Gusts of wind nearly ruined fragile finds, yet Drew's perseverance made for compelling television. The show opened new doors, turning a previously niche trade into mainstream entertainment and solidifying his status as the face of British salvage.
Single most important thing is lighting. You can change your room with lighting and also with colour. And then the furniture should not detract from the room.
International adventures followed. Drew traveled across Europe, sourcing unusual antiques that added allure and unpredictability to his business. Despite occasional setbacks, like losing a shipment or buying fakes, these risks heightened the drama for viewers and added to his credibility. By 2015, Salvage Hunters had aired over 100 episodes, and Drew's fortune grew alongside a dedicated fan base. This rise from local markets to television stardom seemed unstoppable, but beneath the surface, challenges were quietly mounting, foreshadowing a turning point that would test everything Drew had built. The strain of ambition and the shadows behind public success soon began to reshape Drew's journey in ways no one expected. Family life and growing tensions. Behind Drew Pritchard's public success was a family life filled with both warmth and hidden strain. He met Rebecca in 1998, and the connection was instant. They married quickly that same year and soon welcomed their son, Tom, in 1999. Drew's love for antiques was deeply woven into family life, with Tom learning to polish silverware at a young age and distinguishing real from fake items by 5 years old. The family shared more than just a home. They shared a passion that became part of their identity. As the years went on, the demands of Drew's career grew, and so did the distance at home. While Drew was traveling extensively across Europe, scouring markets and scrap yards, Rebecca stayed behind, managing the household and raising Tom, later joined by their daughter Grace in 2003. Living in a converted chapel filled with salvage treasures that Drew had collected over the years, their home was both magical and a symbol of their shared life. Yet tensions quietly grew beneath the surface. Rebecca's role shifted as she became more involved in the business. After leaving a lucrative fashion career in Hong Kong, she officially joined Drew's Antiques enterprise in 2005. Her talent for restoration and valuation significantly boosted profits and helped the business thrive. Together, they appeared strong on screen and in public, a team bonded by work and family. However, the pressure of balancing a high-demand career with family life took its toll in less obvious ways. Despite outward appearances, cracks began to show in their relationship. Financial challenges added stress, especially after near bankruptcy in 2004 due to unexpected repair costs on their home. While Rebecca's skill helped salvage both business and family fortunes, small disagreements over valuations and decisions on items introduced strains. A lost deal that hurt their trust left emotional wounds, even if they kept moving forward professionally. Their children grew up immersed in this world of antiques and adventure, sharing sourcing trips and long hours on the road. Yet, growing time apart, both physically and emotionally, created a gradual drift. Rebecca often managed the home front solo, as Drew's public profile soared with salvage hunters. The typical challenges of a busy family intertwined with the unusual pressures of fame and business success in a niche industry. The outward successes hid personal sacrifices. Drew's long absences and high-risk lifestyle meant Rebecca carried much of the parenting load, managing the household and finances under increasing pressure. The magic of shared passion gradually gave way to exhaustion and unspoken resentments. Supporting the business often meant less time for simple family moments, testing even the strongest bonds. In 2013, the couple's family van, loaded with valuable antiques, was stolen during a sourcing trip in Spain. Although it was recovered, the incident brought the dangers of Drew's career into sharp focus for everyone. The excitement of discovery and profit clashed with the reality of risk. Risk to possessions, to finances, and to personal safety. These experiences left marks that extended beyond the business. As the years passed, the balancing act between family and work became more fragile. By 2015, while Salvage Hunters was hitting major milestones in viewership, the private toll was evident. The breakneck pace and constant travel deepened the emotional distance. The pressures that came with success quietly policed the boundaries of their relationship, setting the stage for even bigger upheavals. Ultimately, the growing tensions in Drew's family life were inseparable from the personal challenges ahead. The collision of a rising public career and private struggles would soon bring everything into sharp conflict. Scandals and public fallout. The year 2015 marked a turning point when Drew's personal life erupted into public scandal. That year, he engaged in an affair with Amanda Thomas, the wife of his close friend, Janice Bryn Thomas. Their secret relationship unfolded under the guise of business dealings at antique events, weaving a complicated web of betrayal and secrecy. Drew was still married to Rebecca when the affair began, and it lasted for 2 years, creating a hidden fracture in his life. Despite Amanda's attempts to end the relationship, Drew continued to send her messages, unable or unwilling to let go. The affair eventually surfaced in 2017, inciting shockwaves in Drew's personal and professional worlds. Other women came forward, claiming involvement with Drew, adding layers to the scandal. The revelation struck just as Drew's fame and career were peaking, turning a bright spotlight into harsh scrutiny. Tensions boiled over dramatically in October 2017 at the Liverpool Arms pub in North Wales. A confrontation between Drew and Janice escalated into a physical fight. Drew had sent Janice a text calling him a coward, setting the stage for an explosive encounter. The scuffle ended with shattered glasses and Drew falling to the floor. Though the fight was brief, its consequences lingered far longer. The legal fallout was swift. Janus was fined over £1,100 and banned from all pubs in Conway. Drew did not press charges, but was banned from 44 local pubs by the community-run Pub Watch scheme. The bans essentially cut Drew off from a significant part of his social life, deepening his isolation. He faced not only legal consequences, but the loss of community and trust. The public scandal severely damaged Drew's reputation. His previously loyal fan base struggled to reconcile the man they admired on television with the man at the center of controversy. News outlets repeated the story widely, and the salvage community found itself divided between support and disappointment. The scandal overshadowed his achievements and complicated his legacy. In the wake of the affair and its exposure, Drew and Rebecca's marriage rapidly deteriorated. Their 19-year marriage ended in divorce by the end of 2017. The legal proceedings cited irreconcilable differences, but the truth was evident to those who followed the story closely. Assets valued around $5 million, including a chapel they had purchased together in the 1990s, were divided. Drew moved away, starting over in Bath. The divorce brought further complications to Drew's life. He faced the challenge of rebuilding not only his personal life, but also his public image. His move to a Georgian townhouse in Bath, worth approximately $1.5 million, was meant to be a fresh start. However, the scars of betrayal and public exposure stayed with him, coloring his attempts to regain stability. Even as his professional life continued, supplying antiques for period films and opening a new shop,
I know what I want to pay for them, but you can tell me what you want for them.
60 quid a piece.
Gordon!
Drew's private challenges lingered. Success could not fully shield him from the consequences of his actions. The personal and public fallout intertwined in ways that would define the next chapter of his life. The scandal was not just a momentary crisis. It was a turning point that reshaped Drew's world and hinted at the heavy toll of living publicly and privately out of sync. Despite the turmoil, the journey ahead would demand resilience beyond what Drew had shown before. The divorce and its aftermath. The end of Drew Pritchard's 19-year marriage in 2017 marked a profound turning point in both his personal and professional life. The divorce was officially recorded as irreconcilable differences, but the shadow of his affair and public scandals loomed large over the breakup. The asset division was significant, with Rebecca receiving a share reportedly worth around $5 million. This included a chapel they had purchased together in 1995 for a modest sum, which held not just financial, but deep sentimental value. Following the split, Drew relocated to Bath, seeking a fresh start in a Georgian townhouse valued at approximately $1.5 million. The move symbolized an attempt to rebuild and distance himself from the intense scrutiny that had followed him in North Wales. However, the scars of his public fall from grace were hard to escape. His private life, once shielded behind the camera and antique treasures, became a source of ongoing challenge. The newly single Drew found himself navigating the complexities of financial obligations, public reputation, and emotional recovery all at once. The years of hard work that had built up his salvage empire suddenly felt fragile.
When salvage hunters came up, I was prepared and sort of ready for it, really.
As personal issues threatened to overshadow professional accomplishments. While he remained active in the antiques world, opening a new shop in Conway, the emotional toll was unmistakable. Rachel, now separated, took care to ensure their children's stability and well-being amidst the upheaval. The family dynamic shifted dramatically, with Drew stepping back from the familiar rhythms of a shared household and parenting routine. Parenting amid separation required adjustments, forcing both parents to redefine their roles in their children's lives. In the business realm, Drew kept pushing forward. He supplied antiques for period films, earned steady income from restorations, and continued to connect with collectors and fans. High-profile visitors like Marco Pierre White came to his shop, and he even published a book in 2018 about antique restoration that sold well. These successes suggested resilience, but masked the undercurrents of strain beneath the surface. Financially, the divorce meant Drew had fewer resources for personal projects. For example, ongoing renovations on his Bath home became increasingly difficult. He faced unexpected structural issues, with hidden rot discovered in 2021 that sent repair costs soaring well beyond the original budget. Plumbing and electrical expenses alone totaled about $150,000. The unfinished home stood as a physical reminder of the challenges he now faced. The closure of his popular Conway antique store in 2022 was another painful development. What had once been a tourist destination attracting fans and celebrities quietly shuttered under a veil of silence. The store's closure marked the end of an era for Drew's hands-on involvement with antiques in his home region. It was a retreat from the public eye, a tacit acknowledgement that the past chapters had closed. Behind the scenes, Drew's mental and emotional health battled alongside the financial and operational hurdles. The high stakes of public life, intertwined with deeply personal upheavals, created a sense of exhaustion and a longing for privacy. His once vibrant career was now marked by the need for recalibration. Though Drew remained a respected figure in salvage, the aftermath of his divorce revealed a man grappling with the price of his choices, both those made in business and in life. It was a reckoning that forced him to confront what truly mattered beyond wealth and fame: health battles and business struggles. As if the emotional wreckage from his personal life wasn't enough, Drew Pritchard faced significant physical and business challenges that compounded his difficulties. Years spent working in unsafe environments had taken a toll on his health. Early exposure to hazardous materials, such as lead-based paints used by his father, and asbestos lurking in junkyards, haunted him with lingering fears of long-term damage. The cumulative effect of these exposures was a constant concern for Drew, underscoring the physical risks beneath his passion for restoration. In addition to health worries, Drew endured injuries directly tied to his demanding work. A welding accident in his teenage years left a lasting scar on his hand, a visible reminder of the dangers he faced chasing his dream. These accidents weren't just isolated events. They symbolized a pattern of risking personal well-being in pursuit of his salvage empire. The physical pain paralleled the emotional strain building in other parts of his life. Ongoing business struggles deepened during the latter part of the 2010s and early 2020s. The ambitious renovation of his Bath home epitomized many of these difficulties. Originally budgeted for $200,000, the work ran over by more than $100,000 due to unforeseen rot and structural issues. Plumbing and electrical systems alone accounted for approximately $150,000, draining both financial reserves and Drew's energy. The project stalled, with only partial completion upstairs and large portions left unfinished. The financial burden of the home repairs correlated to larger business problems. After disposing of his old warehouse and transferring part of his operations to Gloucester in the year 2016, Drew had to deal with the difficulties of keeping a business alive and even growing it, while simultaneously suffering personal losses. He managed to get through all these challenges by supplying antiques for high-profile clients, even film productions, and thus remained in the industry, albeit through a less active participation caused by the crises in his personal life. On the contrary, the agony of dueling between the restoration routines, business responsibilities, and personal healing was terrible. Attempts to refresh his career by publishing books and making television spin-off shows provided some relief, but did not completely equalize the burden of unending obligations and public scrutiny. The spotlight that was once his ally in raising him up now turned to be a hindrance, magnifying all his troubles. Public opinion was changing as well. The polemics and scandals of the past were still fresh in the minds of many who followed him on social media. Thus, it was more difficult to get rid of the old image without being judged. The weariness of Drew was so strong that he made the choice to retreat from some of the aspects of his public persona. The decision of quitting from the show Salvage Hunters,
All the way to there.
Go right back if you're after lunch snooze.
where he's been for more than 200 episodes, was both career and personal turning point, reflecting a need for recuperation and silent focus time. Closure of his Conway outlet and the disposal of much of his personal collection meant much more than just commercial actions. They were indicators of the giving up of former dreams and the wish for inner tranquility. Drew described such things as old friends, meaning that for him, parting with them was akin to parting with a portion of himself. It was a deep, excruciating confession of change. Despite all challenges, Drew maintained his dedication to small restoration projects, aiming for quality over quantity and a more manageable pace. This turn to quieter, focused work underscored the resilience beneath the fatigue, revealing a man intent on preserving his passion without the pressures that had once overwhelmed him. The layers of health struggles, financial strain, and the emotional costs of a high-profile life intertwined to tell a story not just of loss, but survival. A testament to Drew's enduring connection to the craft that first sparked his extraordinary journey. Even as the public chapters of his career drew to a close, the personal journey toward healing and rediscovery continued quietly behind the scenes. Stepping away and seeking solace. After decades on Salvage Hunters, Drew Pritchard's decision to step away marked the end of an era.
And they were looking for salvage companies, and I had two salvage yards in the local area at the time.
By 2023, he had filmed over 200 episodes and earned a reputation as a charismatic expert with a sharp eye for hidden gems. Yet, exhaustion and personal struggles led him to choose privacy and healing over fame. Closing his Conway shop in 2022 was another turning point. Once a popular destination for fans and celebrities, it shut quietly amid his divorce and public scrutiny. In 2024, Drew auctioned over 600 cherished pieces from his personal collection, items he called old friends, symbolizing both loss and liberation. Now focusing on smaller restoration projects and renovations in Bath, Drew has returned to the simple joy of craftsmanship that first inspired him. Though he's stepped away from television, his love for antiques endures, balanced by a renewed focus on peace and self-care. Grateful to his former spouse Rebecca and his team, Drew's humility and resilience reveal a man intent on rebuilding, not retreating. His story reminds us that true success isn't only about what we achieve publicly, but how we find balance, meaning, and authenticity after the spotlight fades. Drew Pritchard's story is a powerful reminder that behind every public success lies a personal journey filled with challenges. His rise, struggles, and retreat remind us to value resilience and self-care. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into remarkable lives.